The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. Abraham Lincoln. This past weekend on November 11th was Veterans Day. We honor those who have fought for our country and those who are currently fighting for our country. My pop-pop was in the military. Today I give him a special salute. World War I resulted in 100,000 deaths. World War II resulted in 300,000 deaths. Vietnam took 58,000, Iraq took 4,000, and Afghanistan took 20,000. Let us have a moment of silence for the men and women who have died to make our country the best country in the world, and for the families who struggle to this day with the burden of losing a loved one. To the soldiers who never saw their kids, to the kids who never saw their parents, to the bravery and the sacrifice that these men and women have made. Let us take this moment of silence to pray for the families and soldiers in need. Thank you to the men and women who are currently active soldiers. Veterans Day is the day for you, but as people, as citizens of the United States, we should take the time to thank you every day, whether it is the national anthem, pledge allegiance, or through prayer. From Evan, Carter, and I, we thank you. God bless America.
Thank you very much. That was really nice. I'm sure we all here can agree how important it is, the celebration and recognition that Veterans Day gives, and all of us doing our part to be the best help we can be to soldiers who are around us. Yeah. And this past weekend, this Sunday, we at CHCA held a Veterans Day concert, the first one in, I believe, 18 years, according to Dr. Grantham.
Yeah.
And it was one of the coolest, probably, events I've ever been a part of there. It was absolutely unbelievable. Awesome. They had a professional brass orchestra come in and play. They had EJO. We had encore sing. Everything was great. And I think the best part and the greatest thing to see for so many people was the MC that we had. He was a 96-year-old World War II Air Force veteran, all decked out in his leather jacket. He had the hat on, the aviator sunglasses on. He would tell stories in between announcing the songs and everything, and it was just a really great time all around. I actually think he was on the news last night, talking about it. And for the last number that the orchestra did was Stars and Stripes Forever. And when he came up to announce it, Dr. Grantham, the band director, said, "You know what? I think it's better if you conduct this one." And at first he was kind of like, "Oh no, I don't know if I can do it." And so Dr. Grantham, he brought him up to the podium and everything, and gave him the baton, and he went for it, and it was really, really cool. It was great to see, and I know everybody had real big smiles on their faces. So it was just a great event all the way around.
Yeah, it was really awesome to definitely see all the soldiers who have fought that were in the audience. Because when we did the their songs, what's it called?
The Armed Forces Salute the Armed Forces medley.
So we sang the certain as Mr. Grantham said, Dr. Grantham said, he said they were kind of like their fight songs.
Mm-hmm.
So the fight songs for the Marines, the Air Force, and every single time we sang those songs, they would stand up and sing with us. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, at one point there was an older gentleman in the front who was part of the Marines, and he was trying to stand up, and his wife was like, "No, don't stand up," because he was very old, and it was very hard for him to stand up. But then two veterans actually came up and helped him stand up, and it was the coolest thing. I was just, I usually don't cry about that stuff, but I was getting there, dude. I was like, wow, this is really special, and I really do think it was just a time where I usually don't I said earlier, my grandfather fought in the military, but I don't really have much time to appreciate the military because I never really think much about it.
Yeah,
which is very which I'm not saying it's not a very good thing, but I really appreciated the soldiers and the military and a lot more than I usually do.
Yeah, and I mean, just the turnout overall for that concert was really, really incredible. I mean, we had
400 people there.
At least. Yeah, I mean, I think the theater sits a little over 500. I mean, I think at most there were 10, 15 empty seats, if even that. And I agree with you that I don't really take the time like I should to think about it, because I had my great grandfather on my dad's side did fight in World War II. My great great grandfather on his side fought in World War One too. He actually enlisted at the age of 17.
Whoa.
which is that. And so I actually have I have a cousin on my mom's side of the family. He's maybe 4 or 5 years older than us, and he actually joined the Army a couple years ago, and he's stationed overseas right now in the infantry. So this is definitely going out to him. I doubt he'll ever listen to this, but this is still, of course, going out to him and everything like that, and for everybody to really take the time to appreciate what all these people do for us, because it's really something special.
Yeah, it is. It was really good turnout, and I think Veterans Day is a little underappreciated, if you ask me. So just to sum it up, thank you to all the soldiers who serve and who have served. Yeah.
Absolutely. From that, we're going to get on to our more regular orders of business over here. The Instagram poll that we put out for this episode was one with regarding our popular grocery store, Kroger, and we asked if people say Kroger or Kroger's. And I'm going to get the results up here. And the winner by a landslide was Kroger with no S, as it should be.
Yes.
And it had 81%. Kroger's had 19%.
And I'll tell you why I sent this out. People are probably wondering why this is so random. Because when we were at the concert, the MC said the word Kroger's. And I remember he said, he goes going on lines of, wherever you're at, whether you're at a restaurant or Kroger's, make sure you salute to everyone. Say thank you for your service, even though they've never served in the military, because they're still serving you. It's just completely different. So you still need to serve. And when he said Kroger's, and I'm just like, I turn around, I'm like, that's a new poll. It's Kroger, not Kroger's. I know. And the thing is, I feel like no offense to anybody who put Kroger's out there, but like, I really don't think anybody under the age of 30 calls it Kroger's.
I think the reason that that it might be that age demographic only that calls it that is because those people might be used to more independently owned stores and somebody's family name being on there. So like, for example, you'd say, oh, let's go down and go to Bob Kroger's store or something like that.
Good old Bob Kroger.
For an example. I know that's not his name, but I think that just sort of fits in with it more because that's what people would be used to.
Good old Bob Kroger.
Good old Bob Kroger.
Transitioning from Kroger to our main topic today.
Yeah, if we can, we'll get out of this as quick as we can. Our main topic for today that we thought of was to talk about our previous jobs and work stories that we have. I'm so sorry. Work stories that we have from jobs that we have previously held. Those that know me know that I worked at Five Guys, the burger place, for 2 summers.
Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
That's
I was about
right.
to finish it, but
if you know what Five Guys is, if you know, you know. And Ben, I know, worked at 5 Seasons, the country club,
sports
club, country. It's not a country
club.
It's most definitely
There's
not
no
a country
golf
club
there.
But he worked at 5 Seasons. So what we want to do today is kind of go through and remember some of our favorite stories that happened to us when we were working. So
well, first of all, I want to take a look at this. I sent out a really last second poll.
Yeah.
And it was, do you work? And I made sure that it was for high schoolers because I know a lot of people have jobs at a school. I mean, last year, like, you couldn't go to Skyline without seeing someone from CHA working.
Or Chick-fil-A.
Which Chick-fil-A is the most.
Nothing against those places, but they've really kind of become CHCA jobs almost stereotypically, at least around the school.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Chick-fil-A is the most CHCA place to work at, if you ask me. Like, most of CHCA could work at Chick-fil-A. Anyways, back to the poll. We have, I asked, it was I think I sent it out within the past couple hours. Do you work or not? 15 said yes. 21 people said no. Which is, I'm looking at the people who said no. A lot of seniors, which is really weird because, I got my job when I was a freshman.
Yeah, I think this might change due to it being during school versus during the summer, because I know for me, I don't keep my job during the school year just because I don't want to do that to myself to have to balance it with everything else because I think it would be a lot. But I don't know. I don't know if that number would change if it was a different time of year.
That does make sense because I say I'm not working at Five Seasons anymore, but I don't plan on going back there. But like I'm busy with theater and I'm busy with school and just senior year on top of that. You don't want to put that on top of you.
Exactly.
Like I have probably a good month off in the year, which is this month right now, where I'm already preparing for the show coming up. So
yeah.
I don't have much time. But definitely I think that it's just weird to see like I was grown up to where when I'm capable of getting a job, I'm getting a job.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hit 15, I applied for 5 seasons. You're not supposed to work until you're 16 there, but I got a job at 15. Grandfather worked there, cousin worked there, other cousin worked there. Like the whole family was there. So it was kind of weird, but still worked there. But I just can't believe that people don't have jobs. I mean, nothing against you. You're probably just living the dream, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that what I've been used to is that like if you are able to like have that kind of experience like at that age, that is already one more thing you can add to your resume, not even if it's even for a college, but just in general. I mean, that's a great thing to have because the walks of life that you're going to meet in various places are way different to people you'd meet just in stuff through school and through any place else. And so it's cool to like put yourself out there and get into the real world, so to speak, in that type of way. So I wrote down for myself 2 of the stories I wanted to tell about of the many that I do have of my time working at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The first one, I will preface this by saying that at Five Guys, no one employee is assigned to any particular job. Like no one person is only a cashier, only a cook, only cleans, only does whatever. Everybody learns everything and will do everything and do different things depending on the day. So this particular day, I was working the grill, I believe. And I had of course had been there for a while at this point. I knew how to do everything. That was just my station for this day. And all of a sudden, out the front window, we see 2 charter buses pull up. And everybody's immediate thought is, "Oh, please go to Chipotle. Please go to Chipotle. Please go to Dickey's. Please go any place else." And yeah, that might sound like bad business for us, but trust me, Five Guys is doing fine, and they will continue to do fine if this charter bus does not pull up right now. Both of these buses unload. And I mean, so many people, it is hard to count. And they come in and the line is going out the door. This is probably the only time I ever can truly say a line out the door. And what it was people coming from, there was an ultimate Frisbee tournament in Cincinnati. And this tournament was not just Ohio. It wasn't just the United States. There were people from about every country under the sun that plays ultimate Frisbee. The amount of different pronunciations of cheeseburger I heard that day is ridiculous. That was probably one of them that you just said. So what we have to do, and there's that many people, Five Guys always grills all their buns to toast them. We just said, take every bun in this store, put it on the bread grill right now. Every meat patty you have available, get it on that grill. Just start right now. And we couldn't keep up with it. And so the rule of thumb around there is you're supposed to get an order out in 7 minutes. Wasn't going to happen. Because we were just taking orders as quick as we could. We only have 2 registers in there. We have both registers open, taking them as quick as we could. The ticket times were probably 20 minutes plus that day. But be warned, that's what you get if you come in that large of a group to a restaurant that makes everything to order. So that's one. Ben, I'll let you tell your first one right now if you want.
All right, so I worked at Five Seasons, which is more of a family tennis club, if you ask me. Probably it's right across the street from school. I think a lot of people know what Five Seasons is. But there is so I worked at Five Seasons for about 3 years. In the cafe upstairs, and there's a little cafe downstairs. And one day, so there's a tennis tournament that comes to Mason, Ohio, the ATP. And I mean, famous tennis players come to this, and Five Seasons has really good tennis courts. So ever since I was little, I mean, we would always expect to see tennis players there. Some names that are just huge. I mean, Roger Federer, Venus Williams, you got Serena Williams, you name it. A guy named Jack Sock was there once. So, yeah, it's a weird name. That's why I wanted to say it. Yeah, Jack Sock.
He wasn't a tennis player. It was just a dude named Jack Sock.
Jack Sock and Bob Kroger. So, yeah, one day, Roger Federer, who is probably going to go down as one of the best tennis players of all time.
Oh, for sure. Easily.
Yeah. He comes into Five Seasons one day, and I mean, I like the tennis is cool and all, but, I won't geek over this guy. And I'm working by myself. And my dad's there every single day as well. So he's in his little cabana thing that he thinks is his at the pool. And he gets up, comes and order his regular meal. My dad, like a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Diet Coke, extra ice is always what he gets. He goes back and he comes back. He's like, Ben, yeah, there's a problem. Like, what's the problem? He's like, Roger Federer is in my cabana. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I have all my stuff down and he's just sitting in my spot. I'm like, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. And like he has like a bunch of tennis players around him as well. So Roger Federer comes up to order food. Like, guys, this guy's accent was just so thick and I just couldn't understand a single word he said. He's like, you have pretzels? I'm like, yeah. They're not very good. Little did I know, like I didn't realize I was talking to Roger Federer until afterwards, because he tells me, he's like, because I usually at Five Seasons, the window's it's below, and this dude's really tall. It's like it's lower than you would think it'd be. So I'm like looking at his chest, and I'm like, what can I get you, man? And I wish I would have shown more respect, to be honest. I'm working a job. I mean, it's just your average minimum wage job. I'm like, welcome to Five Seasons. What can I get for you? Today's special, we have a $1 hot dog. So I look at him and I'm just like, oh, that's Roger Federer. And little did I know, I served 2 cheeseburgers to Roger Federer. So
there you go.
I mean, it's just fun because no one else can really say that. I mean, someone can, but just a little neat story.
There you go. The one I was thinking about today, this is probably my quintessential Five Guys story when I think of them. This story involves another one of my friends that work with me who I won't name, just for the sake of his, not his dignity, because he's probably told this story too, but I won't name him here. But when I would work there, a lot of the time I would close, and that means you come in, your shift starts at 4:00, and they say your shift is supposed to go till 11:00. That is not true. That has never been true. What happens is the store closes at 10, and then you have to take apart everything there, clean it, put it back, and get everything put away and set up the way it needs to be for the opening shift the next morning. So this night, it was already a pretty slow close. It was already pretty late. And we had to, of course, clean the grill, which we just do by dumping a bunch of cold water on it and getting some scrub pads and just going at it with that. And so with a big grill like that, a big flat top grill, it obviously has a very big grease trap, which you obviously have to empty. And then after you empty the grease trap, you send it back to the person doing dishes, and that person will then wash it out in those sinks and then send it back up to you. So this night we were doing everything we could to get out of there as quickly as we could, because it was already going slower than we'd hoped, and it was going to be a late night. So we're thinking of all the ways that we can fathom to get this done quicker. And the friend that I was working with, he decided, he came up with the idea that when we were cleaning the grill, instead of putting the grease trap back in to catch all the excess water that would go in there, we could send the grease trap back right away, get it cleaned along with the other dishes, and then after we were done cleaning the grill, we'll just sweep up all the water that goes on the floor. Good idea in theory. What ended up happening was, as we were cleaning this grill with no grease trap in it, all the grease that was left over on the sides came all down into the little area where the grease trap should have been below the grill. And then because there's nothing in there to block it, all of this loose liquid grease spills out all over the floor, all over the side of the grill, and just make this huge puddle all over the restaurant in the kitchen. And it was a disaster.
Yum.
Yep. So we're thinking, how do we solve this? We just got to start sweeping this into the drains as quick as we can, which we started doing. But of course, there's other things to accomplish there. And so we're trying to run back and forth, do what we need to do, get it cleaned up. But what we forgot was that grease from a grill, it doesn't stay liquid if it's not hot. So about 5 minutes after this happened, no longer would I consider this grease to be a puddle. It was a solid mass of just this gross, oily crap all over the floor. So now we really have a problem on our hands. It is a near midnight, and we have all of this here, and we need to get it out of this store, and we need to get it off the floor because you can't even walk on it without slipping. So it involved getting some degreaser and a lot of it, making it as hot as we could, trying to make that melt the grease as we poured it down the drain. We, of course, did this way too fast, and so the drain got clogged. And there's just a bunch of solid grease and everything in the drain. We're pouring more degreaser down there, wasting more and more time. I'm honestly amazed we got it as clean as we did. But it was still, for the next week, if you pulled out any appliance or any grill in that restaurant, you could find more grease. And to this day, there probably is still some remnants of it somewhere in the Mason Five Guys. So that was that one. And it was an ordeal, to say the least.
Well, that's pretty gross.
Yep.
Well, the thing is about working, so I kind of worked in the same kind of place that you kind of did. You know, you had like a flat grill, like
flat top grill, just a little kitchen area.
Yeah,
all
a little
that
kitchen
stuff.
area. But this is the thing at Five Seasons, we have slushies. So you guys have like shakes now.
We have milkshakes, which is a whole nother topic I could get into, but I won't.
And the thing is with the slushies is we have little kids who come up, right? And you don't pay money there. You can charge your account, which is a good way for kids to, put your family in debt, if you ask me.
Yeah,
kids will come up and it's like, my number is this. Like, okay, yeah, here's $50 worth of food.
It's like, as long as they know that 5-digit number, their parents' credit card is theirs.
Yeah.
Which can get bad.
No kidding. So, I mean, Flagel, I even call it your little brother. He's done this before. He comes up, they come up and I go, hi, what's up? What can I do for you? They go, hi, can I please have a slushie with every single flavor? I'm like, every single flavor. He's like, yep. All 12 flavors.
Keep in mind, you're mixing things like blue raspberry and like
watermelon,
kiwi and watermelon.
Mama.
I've never known what that is. I've never gotten it.
It's fruit punch.
Okay.
And basically, when you fill this stuff up, I do one pump per
It's
thing.
Sugar syrup is all it is.
It's sugar syrup. It's a slushy.
Yeah.
And when you pour in the slushy mix, it comes up black. And I'm just like,
when you mix every flavor?
Yeah. And it just, and it's, I regret giving to the kids. I'm like, they're poor parents. They don't know what they're paying this for.
Like these kids are going to be bouncing off the walls from this pure sugar that they're drinking.
And then some kids will come up, they'll be like, yeah, I didn't get enough syrup in mine. I'm like, dude, there's only syrup in this thing. What are you talking about? Like, come on, man. I'm not that dumb. I mean, but Five Seasons really is a good job because, you have to be really good with communicating with people and little kids. Like some kids will be like, they have nut allergies and stuff, and I'm like, I don't really know, because all of our stuff is bagged in like brown plain bags.
Right.
Yeah. So I have to go upstairs and look at the box, like, all right, here's a nut allergy. But then I started making like a list of people who had nut allergies and whatnot, and I became like really close to them, and I would always, like, their parents would come up to me and always talk to me, get tips and whatnot. It's like, it was a really fun like community job.
that's the thing with anything where you're working in food or restaurants or service, is that it forces you, to develop like people skills in a way that you in a position that you wouldn't normally be in. Because if you got an angry customer coming up to you, you got to know how to deal with that.
Yeah, and it's a little overwhelming sometimes. Like I said, like we're still, well, I'm not a minor anymore, but like you're a minor, and like we worked at when we were 16 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I was 16 years old when I started there.
Like I'll even give an example. At Five Seasons, we don't have this myriad of menu items. I think the most exotic thing we had downstairs one year was a gyro, and that's just that's not something you would want to order. Like, take it from me. But this lady comes with me one day. She goes, "Hi, I like a BLT." I'm like, "We don't sell BLTs downstairs, but we sell them upstairs. Upstairs is more of a healthy choice kind of thing. Downstairs is more like, yeah, well, here's some popcorn chicken for you." So this lady, I argue with this lady. This is like probably 11 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm by myself. And she argues with me for about 45 minutes how I don't have the ingredients, but I can still make it. She thinks because I don't have the ingredients, I can still make it. She was, keep in mind, I'm 16 years old, and this lady is wasting her time. And her husband's in the back just laughing at the whole thing. He thinks it's hilarious. And this lady is like obsessed with BLTs, and she's like, "I want my BLT." I'm like, "Ma'am, we do not serve BLTs, nor have we ever sold BLTs. So I don't know what to tell you." Like, you made me one yesterday. I'm like, "Ma'am, I was not working yesterday." And second of all, we do not have BLTs. And I go on and on. And my boss, Ryan, comes down, and my just tacky guy, love him to death. He comes up. He's like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, this girl thinks, this woman thinks that I made her a BLT yesterday and that she wants me to make it again. And he goes, "Yeah, we don't really have BLTs here." And she was like, "This is ridiculous. I'm going somewhere else, getting a BLT and coming back." She went to Arby's. No, she went to Wendy's, got a BLT, came back to Five Seasons, and came up to me and ordered a drink. And she made sure she had the bag in her hand. And I'm at this point, I'm shaking because like I didn't know what I was doing, because she was actually yelling full force, like, "Where is my BLT?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Like, it was scary. And I'm like shaking. And then she comes back, and I'm just like, "You had to come back and order a drink, didn't you?" Like, I remember, it's either hit or miss with these customers.
Oh, yeah. Five Guys almost gave us sort of a cop-out system with that, in that they're willing to, if you have a problem with anything you're served and you tell the people about it, they will remake it. Like, they will, no questions asked, they'll remake it for you. And so I of course had to do that a couple of times. Probably the dumbest thing I ever did there was I wrapped a burger and gave it to a customer before the patty was put in it. And so it was just this sandwich of toppings and condiments. But that guy fortunately thought that was hilarious. And just of course, like, let me just give him the proper thing. But I had one lady. She is a regular at Five Guys. She is so sweet.
I feel like there's no regulars at Five Guys.
Oh, yes, there
Really?
are. Oh, yes, there are. This lady probably 4 or 5 times a week.
Cool.
The exact same thing every time. I can't remember the whole order, but the one thing that she was always known for getting on her burger was extra lettuce. She would always get extra lettuce. And I learned my lesson with this, because I made her burger one time when I was putting like all the toppings on it, and I put like slightly more than our usual amount of lettuce, like in my mind, thinking like, okay, this isn't a big deal. This will be fine. Sent out the burger. She made me remake this burger because there was not enough lettuce on it.
So
And
remake the whole burger.
The whole burger, as in
because-
grill her a new patty because there was not enough lettuce on this burger.
Sweet.
So, of course I did. And then I was telling another one of the ladies I was working with tonight about that, expecting to get some sympathy, like, "Oh, yeah, dumb customers, you just got to deal with them." And she said to me, "Wait, was this the lady, blah, blah, blah," like that, describing her? And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Don't you ever mess up her burger again. I love her. Like, we'll get it right every time now." Because like she had just been coming there for so long, and now
Yeah.
I'll recognize her in an instant every time she would come in there. And if anybody new was working that day,
Lettuce lady.
I'll go, "You better put more lettuce on this burger than you have ever put on anything in your life. We got to make this happen. Like, we got to do this right the first time because we're going to be here a little while longer if we don't.
And the weird thing about both of our works actually is, they can see us make the food.
Yes.
Which I don't know if I've ever been in a more pressured, moment when people are watching me make their food. I'm a glove guy, put the gloves on, and then you make the food.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I do things differently at work. So I'll do my own little twist on things. Sometimes I'll add something, but like the customers like it and like they'll ask for it. But then like there was this one lady one time, she said, I want 4 cheese pizzas. I'm like, all right, sure. And we do 2 cheeses. We do mozzarella and cheddar. Cheddar's we do put very light cheddar, but we still do a lot of mozzarella and lots of a little bit of cheddar. And she said, why are you putting cheddar on my pizza? I'm like, ma'am, you asked for the dual cheese pizza. And she's like, I want just regular cheese now. I'm like,
was that already melted?
Yes. I made 4 cheese pizzas before this lady's like, I actually want just 1 cheese instead of the 2 cheese pizza. I'm like, okay, I'll get right on it.
Oh man.
It's just one of the things, but all in all, I really have learned a lot from work, if you ask me.
For sure.
And then these are just like, they're memories that I'll probably never end. My dad still talks about his very first job at Hershey Park.
My dad always talks about like the horrible job he had at the end of high school when he worked in a paper factory in Middletown, Ohio.
Wait, a paper factory.
A paper factory.
I thought I had it rough.
No, he describes the horror stories of having to crawl into what they called the pit underneath these machines where it was about 110 degrees and just all this greasy stuff would fall in there and he had to clean it out and all the things they had to do. So we don't have it that bad, I don't think. But there's pressure, but I mean that's what you learn and that's like what you can overcome. And I mean like that's just another way that you can grow through that.
And get money.
Exactly.
So,
I mean it's good money.
Yeah.
I think we've gone a little bit over the time that we wanted to today, so we'll wrap it up right here. Thanks so much for watching and for listening. Check Instagram for the polls. Hopefully we'll get our next interview recorded and up for you guys soon. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Signing off.